Douglas County Sheriff's deputy is in critical condition tonight after being shot this afternoon. We are expecting to hear from the Douglas County Sheriff around 6:15. Earlier this afternoon, the sheriff was out asking for prayers as that deputy went into surgery. The deputy was shot by a man who had been threatening to kill himself. That suspect was then shot and killed at the end of a chase in the area of Sierra Elementary School and Parker Adventist Hospital, all in the area of Parker and 470. No one else was injured in this. Again, we're expecting an update from Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock around 6:15, and we will bring it to you here. Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper says he doesn't think Donald Trump is really serious about trying to deport the millions of people living in this country illegally. But in a wide-ranging sit-down with our politics guy Brandon Rittiman, they started on that idea and how Governor Hickenlooper might intervene.
Well, it's hard to imagine. That those are federal decisions, so in many cases that we wouldn't have a voice.
Would you consider a lawsuit or something like that, or would you want to explore that as an avenue if this was the path we started to go down as a country?
Well, I don't. Again, I'm a lawyer, so I'm the last.
You've got
person.
one though. You got a few.
Yeah, but I think I think it's unlikely given all the polling we've seen so far that Donald Trump's going to be the next president. But if he is, I think it's unlikely he'd ever try something like that.
But would you want to stop that from happening?
I'd certainly try to push back every way I could, and if there were legal avenues, I would certainly explore them.
Do you view Donald Trump as a threat?
Yeah, I think Donald Trump is unstable, and he changes his mind. He's impulsive based on what comes up, and I think that is threatening to the economy in a serious way.
Differently than you might have viewed, say, a Mitt Romney or somebody in the past.
Completely differently.
So I got this question on Twitter, and I know some other people are interested in it, and it's a simple one. Where is the Aurora Theater shooter?
That I can't tell you. I can tell you that they're connecting in terms of the legal cases that are pending. They are making him available. We have convicts from other states that were perceived as being a danger to those around them. If they stayed in the place where they had committed their crimes. And so states swap these people all the time. The understanding is for the benefit of both sides, we keep those locations, we don't advertise them to the public.
So just to be clear, you can't tell me because you don't know, or you can't tell me because you're not at liberty to share it?
I'm not at liberty to share it.
Brandon's discussion with the governor continues Sunday morning on Balance of Power at 8:45. Governor Hickenlooper and every other living Colorado governor, Democrat and Republican, are united in support of something called Raise the Bar. It's an effort to make it harder to change our state constitution. That effort is being headed in part by a Republican who ran to oppose Hickenlooper, former state senator Greg Brophy.
Changes to the Constitution are darn near permanent, like a tattoo. They're hard to get rid of, really hard to get rid of, and it takes a lot of time. So if there's something that you decide to ensconce in the Constitution that we later discover is a horrible idea, it is often too late to get it taken care of.
Voters will decide in November whether to require that constitutional ballot initiatives be forced to gather petition signatures in each state Senate district. So no more just racking up signatures in the Front Range cities. And it would also raise the requirement to pass a constitutional change from 50 to 55%. I'd never really thought about this, but mail-in elections like ours in Colorado are really paper intensive. 66 days out from Election Day, the Boulder County Clerk's Office tweeted a photo of 66,000 reams of paper, 66,000 pounds of paper, I should say. It was delivered to the county today. Each voter in Boulder County is getting a 4-page, 2-sheet ballot in November. The county says this will be the longest mail-in ballot in at least the last decade. What actually gets printed on that paper won't be finalized for about 10 more days. Then there's a real quick turnaround to print the ballots. Next question. What's up with the abandoned police cars parked alongside I-25? We got a couple of viewer questions about these unmarked cars parked on the shoulder of the highway near Hamden. They are not actually police cars. CDOT says they are uniform traffic control. These particular cars are owned by a private contractor. Off-duty contractors and police officers get paid to man the cars to help out CDOT contractors. They're called in to help out with detours, and the uniformed officers who are out there can write tickets during paving and lane construction projects. CDOT says most of the time those cars are just sitting there as a visual deterrent, as in trying to get us to slow down. If you have a question you'd like to get an answer to, get at us. Hashtag HeyNext or email us next@9news.com. It's weird seeing empty sidewalks outside Sports Castle on Broadway. The annual Sneak Grab ski and snowboard sale at Sports Authority was such a big deal. Of course, people would camp out trying to get a great deal, and news crews were all over them like white on rice each year. But today, as we head into the Labor Day weekend, the sidewalk outside what was originally Gart Brothers is empty. Sports Authority, of course, is out of business. Dick's Sporting Goods bought the Sneak Grab name but didn't bring back the sale, at least not this year. Gart Properties, which is a venture of the Gart family, still owns that beautiful white building. The Denver Post said they were considering using the iconic building for retail and residences, but we have not heard anything definitive. A busy travel day today. So is the A-line working today? The train, is it going to the plane? Yes. Great news for everyone traveling to and from the airport as we head into this holiday weekend. It would appear that we are getting some feedback about last night's story on the University of Colorado Springs professors who told students that if they don't believe in climate change, they should leave their science course. My take last night was that viewpoints should be debated, not banished. A number of you very thoughtfully disagreed. Creighton Wood writes from Norwood, where they call him Woody. Love your program next, but I disagree with your response to the story about students being asked to leave a class on the effects of climate change if they don't agree with it. There are times and places for these people to have their say, but this class isn't one of them. Penny Skoglund has some insight. You have no idea how awful it is for the professor to end up in constant and demanding arguments. As a former college teacher in Colorado, I can't tell you how much class time got wasted arguing with students who were intractable in their points of view. It was exhausting. And Steve, really enjoy your next show, but Kyle, buddy, you got the climate change story all wrong. The class is designed to be and focuses on the effects of climate change. It is not a forum to debate whether it's happening. If you haven't noticed, we're big on your feedback around here. Everyone out there watching is just as likely to learn something from you as they are from us. So please keep it coming. Email next@9news.com or get our attention anytime with the hashtag HeyNext. And perhaps you've noticed we also occasionally will cover stories that you don't see everywhere else, like the chicken swap happening in Denver this weekend. Not sure why that isn't bigger news. In case one or two of you are unfamiliar with the parlance of poultry, a chicken swap is an event where you can buy, sell, or trade chickens, or rabbits, or quails, or turkey, or goats. The event is meant for urban homesteaders. It was a post on Nextdoor that caught our attention. Apparently these things happen once a month, Saturdays at Earth Dog Denver near 4th and Calumet. So why might one be swapping a chicken, you may be asking?
If you buy some chicks and you happen to get a rooster, you can come and most of the farmers here will take the rooster off your hands because roosters are illegal in Denver. And also if your chicks stop laying eggs, usually they lay for about around 4 to 6 years old, the chicks will stop producing as many eggs and you can come and trade them for some younger ones.
Trade your chicks in for a younger model. They do warn this is a buyer beware market. None of the sellers are registered. There's no veterinary staff present to certify what you're buying. So check your chickens, folks. Hey, may I make a recommendation? This is where we point you towards anything that isn't ours, but is awesome. There is a very straightforward article in today's print edition of the New York Times in the technology section. The title, "When I'm mistakenly put on an email chain, should I hit reply all asking to be removed?" There's the body of the article, just one word, no. Under that one word, it says, the New York Times' internal email system contributed to this report. If you click on the no in the online version, it actually takes you to an op-ed by Daniel Victor about the dreaded reply all apocalypse. Again, do not reply all to be removed from an email chain. Come to think of it, you should almost never reply all. Next, Metro State holds anchor auditions for its award-winning campus newscast. And they never specified you have to be a student to audition.
Kyle, you're all set in the studio.
Here we go. Goes nothing. Where are my fellow Trekkers at? Star Trek debuted 50 years ago this month. To celebrate, NASA published some awesome photos on its Tumblr account. Some are of NASA astronauts playing the role of Star Trek characters. Others are Star Trek cast members in visits to NASA. The Tumblr account says Star Trek was an inspiration to a lot of people at NASA. You know, there's a whole section of the NASA website dedicated to Star Trek, including a written history of the relationship between the TV show and the folks who really explore space.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin, and congratulations, you made it through the week. If you're lucky, a 3-day holiday coming up for you. And what a holiday in the Colorado high country. Beautiful cumulus clouds dotting the horizon up there, and some of the higher peaks, reports of snow. While it's calm and quiet in the metro area, I'm tracking severe weather out on the eastern plains with temperatures that have been quite comfortable for this time of year. And the thunderstorms are falling apart as they roll east off of the foothills until they gather strength out on the far eastern plains, where a tornado warning remains in effect until 6:30. That for Washington County, that cell northwest of Ray, tracking east, has a history of 1 to 3 inches of rain, 1-inch diameter hail, and damaging wind. More thunderstorms coming into southeastern Colorado, a trend that will continue for tomorrow. And after tomorrow, a warming and drying trend that will see highs back in the 90s for the second half of your holiday weekend. Tonight, isolated storms and a low of 56. Not a bad Friday night in the city at all. Tomorrow, some sunshine, 20% chance of rain from storms that develop in Denver after about 3 o'clock, and a warm weather trend that will get us into the 90s on Sunday, close to 90 on Monday, and a beautiful forecast shaping up as we move through the first full week of September.
Denver Public Schools have bragged about its standardized test scores for years. And for years, a nonprofit dedicated to improving education has criticized the district's claims. Not this year. That seems significant. So our Nelson Garcia took a look.
Today we're going to learn the word giant.
In this classroom and classrooms across Denver,
We read and see.
something is happening that has people like Van Scholes perplexed.
Very impressed for the district results in Denver.
He runs A+ Colorado, a nonprofit citizens group focused on improving schools.
Does it make sense?
And for years, the progress made in classrooms across Denver has been in question.
In the past, we've been very critical of the district in terms of the rate of progress.
But Scholes says test scores released yesterday show Denver moving from the bottom 20% of districts to almost directly in the middle at the state average.
So check this word for sick.
Considering all the challenges in Denver, he says that's amazing.
In the last few years, they've made some great progress. In fact, more progress than almost any other district that we've seen nationally or here in Colorado.
I like how Hunter's eyes are on me.
Jessica Dixon says the difference in her classroom is individual attention.
And we do a lot of personalization, so we teach to every single student and where they're at.
She says technology and team teaching have been essential.
We have to collaborate to be able to get to every kid. We also need to make sure we know where our kids are at.
Denver was a district that
Scholes wants to know more.
we're still very interested in trying to understand the mechanisms, how that's happened.
How quick change is happening in classrooms across Denver.
What's the table of contents tell us?
For Next, I'm Nelson Garcia.
The school that Nelson visited today, Parker Elementary, it's the fastest growing school academically in all of Denver. We return now to our lead story tonight, the Douglas County Sheriff's deputy who was shot and is in critical condition. It happened prior to a chase in which deputies say a man in an RV led them to an area near Sierra Elementary where that suspect was killed. Sheriff Tony Spurlock is speaking.
Was involved in a situation where there were shots fired. My deputy was shot and critically injured. A short time later, the suspect was shot and killed by another officer just a short time later. The most important part right now is that I ask the community two things. One, that you pray for my officer. I'm going to share his name here in just a moment. The power of prayer is important, and I think it can help him. He's in critical condition, and we need to do whatever we can. Also, the City of Parker has been great in helping us in this investigation. The City of Parker is pretty much gridlock in traffic, so if you don't need to come down to this part of the City of Parker, we'd ask you not to, because the roads are very clogged, and there's a lot of problematic with folks trying to get their kids out of school and just moving around on a Friday night. So thank you very much for that. The detective that was shot and injured is Detective Dan Bright. He's been with our office for 2.5 years. He is married to one of our sergeants, Christine Bright, who works in Special Investigations Unit of the Sheriff's Office. They are together at a hospital, and her children and their children together are there with family members. Other family members are on their way to this location, but they've all been notified. So I do ask again that you have your thoughts and prayers for Detective Bright and his family, and we're going to continue on with the investigation. We have 2 separate investigations going on, or 2 separate shootings, and with the assistance of the Colorado State Patrol, the Parker Police Department, and the District Attorney's Office, we sure feel that we will come to the conclusion of that. And the most important part for me right now is that Detective Bright comes out of this okay, and we can get him home with his family. I'll answer just a couple
That was
questions.
Sheriff Tony Spurlock speaking about Detective Dan Bright. We're hearing his name for the first time. He's the Douglas County deputy who at last check was in critical condition and was in surgery, we believe, at Parker Adventist Hospital. The suspect, the suicidal man who shot Detective Bright this afternoon, was shot and killed by deputies following a chase. Next continues after this. We do try to own up to our mistakes around here. Last night, Brandon Rittiman's report used the phrase jumping the shark. And let's just say if Brandon's report got a letter grade, it wouldn't have been an A. But he's man enough to admit an error. Chris Allen tweeted him a link referencing the origin of the term. You know, when Fonzie literally jumped a shark on Happy Days. It's now a derogatory term for when something is old and tired. And Brandon tweeted back, "Dope. Think I meant to say jumping the gun. Grabbed the wrong metaphor out of the bag. Thanks. Hashtag need more coffee." And we could all use a little good news today and every day, considering what's happening in the world. So we're continuing our Friday tradition here, asking folks around town, what's your good news? Photojournalist Tom Cole took the question of folks at Washington Park.
It's not snowing yet.
Football season started last night. Great college games last night. Some good college games coming up tonight, and then NFL season right around the corner.
I moved into a new apartment, which was really great. I found a place, which is really can be a challenge in Denver, and I had hired movers this time, which was like the best decision I've ever made.
Graduating nursing, I'm gonna be a nurse soon, so I don't know, that's pretty good news. I've been working really hard with that.
We've been to Union Station, we've been to Casa Bonita.
So our family was just on a family vacation. We were on our family boat, we were just going to lunch, then he ended up dropping down on one knee with everyone there, and it was really fun. It was a total surprise. I had no idea, but everyone else had a clue, so it was just kind of funny that everyone could keep it a huge secret. I get to marry the love of my life, and it's so fun. I'm just so excited. You never know what this moment's gonna feel like until you're in it, and it's just like, we couldn't be happier, couldn't be more of an exciting time.
Sharing some of your feedback from the last 30 minutes, Alex R. writes on Twitter, "So disappointed. How could you not cover the ongoing situation in Parker?" It was our lead story tonight, Alex, and then we did carry the sheriff's press conference live when that happened around 6:15. We didn't spend the 10 intervening minutes rehashing what was said and speculating, but we are always going to keep you updated as things are happening during the 6 o'clock hour. Margot Stearns right on Twitter, "Can't wait to see what you find each day. Informative. Love the casual format." We appreciate your feedback as always, and we'll see you next time.